Canadian clown.
That was so good.
Got a mare at 163.
wow.
Downfield sends the wrong way. Mango's got an opening. What's it going to be? Mango got the knockdown. Shine out a shield.
The Mango plot armor hit different.
Way.
The
No,
Mango plot armor hit different, Toph. I
Up throw
swear.
bear. Oh my. Could not have been intentional. Maybe looking for a wave dash back into that, and Mango with all the state presence saying no job.
Welcome to Fourside Fights, featuring Ambisinister, Edwin Budding, The Cheat, and Jackzilla. Welcome to Fourside Fights, episode 20. We've got 4 outstanding guests today who are going to act as pundits, while I, Chroma09, finally in his rightful seat as the host, will throw topic after topic at them. Will they crumble or will they succeed? They'll give their takes. If they're spin facts or I deem we should let them cook, I'm going to give them points. And if they're boring, wishy-washy, or exhibiting cowardice, worst of all, I will wipe them out. And of course, I can mute any of the contestants at any time for any reason. Now, this is a very special episode. We've got the Fourside Fighters on one side, The Cheat and Jackzilla, and the Melee Stats Savants, Ambisinister and Edwin Budding on the other. Tonight, each team points will be added up, with the team with the highest total winning. No matter what happens at the end of the show, our two teams are going to battle it out on Fourside. The winners of the show, they might get to play on the same team. I haven't really thought it through. What I have thought through is that there is a twist. If by the end of the show, both teams have truly beefed it, and each of their totals are less than 100 points, I will have no choice but to declare myself as the winner of tonight's show. I want a good, clean fight. May the best shadowy overlords of this scene win. I'm going to get right into our first topic here. No cute little, what does everybody think? We're just going to go right into it. Topic number 1. Zain seems to have just barely beaten the buzzer for the 2023 summer rankings after a beyond dominant get on my level and some timely magnet shenanigans at Fate. It's not official, but chatter on the street is putting him as the number 1, once again, odds-on favorite. Zain is a friend of the show, constantly redefining our understanding of greatness in and out of the game. Congratulations, but I can't help thinking how narrowly he seems to have done it. Pundits, 4 points, invalidate this great man's accomplishment. What is the smallest thing that needed to happen for him not to be number 1? Edwin Budding, we start with you.
First of all, I think that he basically needed to win Gommel. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the top level head-to-heads because Cody Schwab would have it. He wouldn't have the prestigious victories like J-Mook does with Genesis and Collision. And while he would be consistent against the rest of the field, he would pretty much fall short in every other area. So I would say that anything barring literally winning Gommel and taking the major head-to-head lead and J-Mook just having the worst day of his life, I would say that it would have been very difficult for Zain to grab that number 1 spot otherwise.
All right, who's jumping in?
I don't think that it has anything to do with results. I think IBDW, if he had gone full lobbyist and just totally started shitting all over the process, the panelists, finding the rankers and making something happen, he could have said, who cares about wins? It's a head-to-head fucking game, and I'm the king. I think Zain eked it in at the end, and IBDW was too honorable to fight him for the turf of first place that he could easily have taken.
Now, are you saying the top players aren't consistent with what they regard as the thing that's most important for number 1? Last time we heard
they're absolutely
the entire
consistent.
time.
Chroma, they're
It's
absolutely
all about
consistent.
the wins.
How do we help me? How do we help me?
Do you have evidence to support yourself here?
Mango changing his opinion on whether or not activity was good or bad, but then when pressed saying, well, I do always think activity is good, just not in this specific subclause section C situation.
What do we got?
No
Was it
argument
close
here.
or was... Well, that's not good. I
Scorch
don't want
spirits
that.
so hard that the other team is afraid.
okay,
I come up with my
Ambi,
first pick
Ambi,
as a
come on.
pundit, and I silence the haters immediately.
If this is about Zain, then I think I have an opinion.
Good.
Yeah, Zain had absolutely no shot of not being number 1 either last year or this year. And it's not because of anything to do with results, but it's because Zain is in control of 2 of the most important things for our community, which are the lab leak that caused Omicron last year, and the chip shortage, which is making everyone's controllers explode in front of him.
So
Zain
true.
notable for being the only player that plays on OEM that's like not having its controller explode every fucking entire tournament. It may have seemed like he barely eked it in at the end, but I don't think it was barely at all. I think he set himself up very nicely geopolitically for his victories both this year and last year.
I'm astounded by your doctrine. Mikey,
What?
do you have anything to say?
I mean, that was he was spitting a little bit there for sure. Yeah, I do think that at the end of the day, it's about rings, Ernie, and that's the top line thing here. All this other bullshit, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Mariners win fucking 157 games in a baseball season, but if they can't take home the World Series trophy at the end of it all, it doesn't fucking matter. So the headlines are what people are going to be reading, and Zain grabbed the headlines. Just enough this time. But if J-Mook wins FET, we might be talking about a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is a good point. I'm going to leave with a final question. Does Europe count? Are we wrong for counting Europe?
It's a bold
As far as I'm
question.
concerned,
They play on
anything that
NTSC
plays
now.
PAL
It's
is-
fine.
That's actually
But-
not true, Edwin. I was informed in chat many times they were playing on PAL.
No,
You can tell if you look at
God.
the...
No.
Yeah, after-
Chaz
after
lying to
NATO-
you.
I think
NATO made
after
them play
Brexit,
NTSC to get protection from Russian expansion.
after Brexit, we're the same as them. You know, it's
Brexit's a
completely
great point.
homogenized.
Yeah.
That's a great point. NATO, I think, was wrong here. I'm pretty sure the UK is not a part of NATO, Jack.
That's right.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
going to have to go to our next question here. Now, Smash Factor 10, we're going south of the border. Quite the spectacle. I've been to Tijuana a couple times. They've always seemingly had really nice tournaments. Nicer than ours in San Diego, to be honest. Quite the spectacle. Incredible venue and production, Spanglish commentary, Blur shotgunning a beer and looking pretty jacked, and Eddie Mexico in a personal favorite playing the set of his life versus Mango and Winners. Unfortunately, we, the official Melee Competitive Conduct Committee, must grapple with a heinous crime that took place. Sirs, a second Mango Marth set versus Johnny has hit the loser's bracket. Reddit is calling for Mango's head, citing evidence from this very show. Players are saying that it's his prerogative to do whatever he wants. Onlookers insisted he must have been throwing the set. As Smash Commissioner, what do you do, Mikey?
Let him cook. What can you do at this point? The viewership numbers are down, and having him there in the first place is the only thing that can help us. You know what? He's going to take it on the chin and play Doc or Marth a couple of times, and we just have to let him. Unfortunately, we're going to have to let the players win this one. I can't afford him saying anything more mean about our show.
Actually, he was interested. He watched an episode for a little bit, and he said, have our people talk to your people. So that I can't let that
It was
stand.
unreal watching him queue up the episode, jump to a random spot in it, and it's the Cheat's face taking up the whole screen saying,
I know, I have to be careful
Mango
what
really
I say
binked
now.
it on this one. He really
Mikey.
fucked it up.
Now, wait, hold
Mikey,
on a second.
You're a TO.
I have a question really quickly for Jack here. Jack, who linked him the episode?
Somebody in the chat, he Googled it.
Was it
and
you?
So the thing was, is if he searches in YouTube Fourside
Was it
Fights,
you?
the first one that came up is his face plastered on a spoof of My Dinner with Andre, and he's clicking. The fact that he jumped is the Mango moment of like, I started to truly believe this man has cosmic influence in his life, and I came in like expecting to be like, Mango should stop, messing up people's brackets just because he feels like it. But when you look at the evidence, like the cheat said about viewership, and when you look at the evidence of God favoring Mango, it's hard to stop him.
I gotta say, do you really believe that Mango going out in 7th was good for viewership for this tournament?
No, but I don't think that he is gonna do anything else. Like the probability of anything else happening was zero. I don't know what we would have had to do to make him keep going in the bracket. Like, was there a gift we could have offered him, like an Eldritch King of old that has powers beyond our comprehension? I think trying to do like human sacrifices for Mango is a little bit foolhardy.
I don't know. I think we've tried it a couple times. Ambi, Edwin, Melee stats. What do we do?
Dude,
I mean,
we don't have to do anything. I'll say right here, we don't have to do anything. Mango's Marth is just good. We don't have to do any thinking about this. Mango's Marth could totally have beaten Hacks if he got to Hacks. The mental damage that he would have done to Hungry Box if he reached Hungry Box would have been immense. He's already taken a game with Dr. Mario.
Wait a minute.
You know, Hungrybox is making all these tweets about how unwinnable the matchup is for Jigglypuff versus Marth. He could have just won the tournament with Marth. We're not punishing him because he went Marth. We're punishing him because he lost. He lost because he threw. And this has nothing to do with his character selection. He's trying to mask it by the fact that he's playing this other character that he plays that's very good. We don't have to do anything. It's just a loss.
I love
We
Ambi
have to
spitting.
do something.
You're so right. If Mango doesn't lose to Hacks, his Marth is remembered so differently. Like literally, his Marth had already been winning in 2015 in the random counter pick wars and like doing serviceable. It's really kind of revisionism that we think of it as a shitty.
He was winning after the Hack set. He won What the Fox after he had already played in Hacks.
It kept coming out.
It would be very saucy for us to have another walk-up sleeve.
Look, I mean, this is all I'm saying. He's gone Marth in three pretty important sets this year, or notable sets, right? He beat Triff with his Marth. The Marth is pretty good. I think the way I see it, he's gone Marth in enough sets. He's gone Doc. That's looked pretty good. Just add it to his character card. That's what we have to expect to him. He's going to go Marth or Doc in random sets.
I do have one more point I want to make on this Chroma, which is that this is the first time I've ever seen a post on Reddit just in the wild citing Fourside Fights discourse to like shit on a top player as like evidence in a manifesto. And whatever we feel about the conclusions of that manifesto, I just want to make it clear that we absolutely support you taking our quotes out of context, you chopping them up, making us look like shit, all for the views, baby, all for the views. We're coming home and we can survive the heat. We can take the heat.
Yeah, if I could just, make, I know we're having fun here, but if I could make a serious point for a moment on the topic of like going secondaries and like picking random characters or whatever, I do think that like, I think it's genuinely important that players understand that like, if you go your secondaries or you don't try your hardest on an event, doing it once and maybe even doing it twice doesn't necessarily directly hurt you, but you have to remember that you're gathering results like, you know, relative to your peers and other people around you, right? So any time in which you're not trying your hardest in a tournament or you're losing early or DQing or whatever, you're basically giving your peers an opportunity to get a leg ahead of you in accomplishments, right? So like in the case of Smash Factor, like, does Hungrybox benefit from winning the tournament? Like, even though he dropped a set in grand finals to Hacks, like maybe not necessarily in a vacuum, but if Mango at the tournament is basically like, you know, not performing up to par, even if you don't factor that into his accomplishments,
this is too much.
It doesn't add to his resume for the year, whereas another player gets a resume.
Yeah, this brings us into our next point, which is Mango not trying was a great time for Touchdown Juan. He took home his second tournament victory of the year, defeating Hacks 3-0 in Set 2 of Smash Factor's Grand Finals. On the Night Bright side, he is yet to win one of his coin boxes. Despite coming the closest he ever has last week, he fell to a visibly depressed Plup in a Grand Finals that included triple-digit ping, attempted timeouts, ledge camping, alleged stage camping, and a finals-ending missed rest into pause, into not forfeiting the set, into losing the set anyway. My question is this. Why? Why does he do this to himself? Why do we do this to ourselves? What can we as humans learn from what we've watched?
I'm not watching anything. You couldn't pay me to watch Coinbox.
Oh, he's
I'd rather
It sounds like you're missing out, dude. I don't know.
When you get paid to do commentary?
I'd rather do
You're missing
anything
out,
else with
man.
my time.
Jack.
No, dude. If I wanted to watch Plup, I would just watch Plup stream. I don't need to watch him play Hungrybox on like 180 ping and then like
Yeah, but that's
have there
the
be all this
magic.
Discord.
Yeah, no, actually,
That's the beauty of that's the beauty of watching Plup stream. It's already great watching him stream himself watching Coinbox or Hungrybox and laughing at him. When he's playing Hungrybox and Coinbox and he's miserable the whole time but still making fun of HBox, there's a certain kind of magic to that you're not going to get anywhere else. So no, I actually do care about Coinbox. And for what it's worth, I think Touchdown Juan is still winning. He's keeping the storyline going. He hasn't won a coin box. He's making you tune in every single week, whether it's to him or whether it's to Plup or anyone else that's streaming, wondering why they're doing 90 ping Fox Puff while he's camping them or whatever. You know what one of my favorite moments of last week was? It was watching Zamu play HBox. It was beautiful. It was everything I could have wanted. The 2-0 set right into both of them camping each other, both of them miserable. HBox lecturing his chat at the end of the set, still complaining about box afterwards for some reason. In fact, that's the only thing I hold against him. He hasn't done anything about that, despite talking about it so much.
I have to say, Ambi, I was like you, but they did pay me to watch Coinbox and talk about it last week, and I am now a convert. And I wholeheartedly agree with Edwin Budding on this. I was enraptured by the spectacle of Coinbox this last week. I think that there was so much juice there to talk about. And how many times do we have to say it on this fucking show before we just chalk it up? HBox chooses when he loses, right? And he chose in that moment to have a teaching moment with his chat and to make it a talking point. And I think that was a beautiful stroke of genius on Juan's part.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
I watched a lot of that clip of Hungrybox getting the crab thrown at him this week. I was just kind of reflecting on old times. And the way that he reacted, I know we now look back on it with fondness, but that is a man who went through some crises. And H-God loses when he so chooses is the result of what we've done to him and what he's done to himself. Watching Plup overcome that is very beautiful to me. These two have been in a dance for so long that they both know that the other can always choose what is going to happen. And Plup will always cede to the grace of Sir Hungrybox when it's time to take his W's. I love West Coast Plup. He's ready for everything.
Right on. He's got to come to more events. Someone got a last shot here?
If I can just tell you a story really quick. Spark, I got to spend some time with Spark in Toronto, okay? And Spark at
How
one
is this
point,
related?
no, it'll get there. Let me cook.
All right.
He literally spent
All
an
right.
entire evening at Webb's and Spoopy's apartment while Webb, Spoopy, myself, and my spouse went out to dinner. And you know what he did? He competed in Coinbox and got like 4th place. And he said it was the most miserable experience of his life, but that it helped him pay rent. So if that's not helping the ecosystem of Smash, I don't know what it is.
This is the closest any of them have ever gotten to having a job, which is fascinating.
I love seeing Spark complain about coin boxes and then just be in the graphic every frickin' time. Sheik is impossible online. 4 Sheiks plastered on the top 8 panel. Every time I see the results of Coinbox, it's like it's the usual suspect foxes and a cadre of the Sheik of the week. And Spark still thinks that she can't do it online. It's nuts.
She can't.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. That's my goat. So let's go into ranking season. I wanted to keep things relaxed so we wouldn't give the Melee Stat Squad flashbacks. So here we are. Zuppy versus Magi. Zuppy's wins were lights out this season, including beating Moki, Amsa, and Lod at the same tournament on the way to 4th place at Collision. But his records versus people below, we'll say about the top 20, left a lot to be desired in my opinion. Magi was remarkably solid versus everyone except for the very top players. But despite thrashing a somewhat tipsy Zain, she just couldn't get across the finish line versus the top 10 contenders. Folks, who had the better summer 2023 on your ballot? Edwin Budding. Actually, Jackzilla.
I put Magi up by 0.06. Magi is 1 spot above Zuppy for me. There was a point in my drafting that Zuppy had climbed all the way to like 13, and then I scrolled to the right side of the head-to-heads, and I went, oh, something's off here. Magi had an incredible first half of the year. Zuppy had very high highs. Where did I land on them? In the right wing quadrant of putting Magi above Zuppy.
Boring.
Yeah, the cowardice is
You're
bad.
so
They're basically
boring.
beside them. Sorry, go
Was
ahead,
that-
contestant.
Sorry, I was mocking Edwin.
Oh, well, okay, that's my goat. All right, Edwin, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I just want to regale you all with another story, okay? After Zuppy defeated Aklo at Gommel and finished in 9th place, only losing Kadoran, he went up to me and he said this.
Oh boy.
Did you see my run? The task man never disappoints.
That boy knows 2 things.
And
His
from
name and playing Smash.
that, I knew what I had to do. He's above Magi.
Ambi, can you bail out your teammate here? What is he
Edwin
doing?
hates to see a girl boss
I
winning.
unfortunately cannot bail him out. This is a very painful question that's dear to my heart because I want to rank Magi higher. Because I personally like Magi better. But I hate to say it, Zuppy is higher. I looked at the results, I poured over them, I looked at every possible angle to justify the decision to put Magi over Zuppy, and I simply could not do it. Zuppy had such a good season, and I regret to say that Zuppy was higher on my ballot.
What was it? What did it come down to for you? What was the big deciding thing?
I think Magi would have been higher if you actually did give her 3 Zain wins. But unfortunately, you have to do some sort of calculus internally to decide how many Zain wins she actually does get.
What did you count it
I
as?
settled on like roughly approximately 1, and that kind of was not enough to throw her over Zuppy for me.
I think it's much more simple than that. Ginger DQ'd from Collision. From that, we saw his top 15 season from Zuppy.
I can't believe that Edwin is engaging in such a blatant act of inflating his own Melee legacy here. And in fact, that's the reason, I'll speak freely as somebody who doesn't have a ballot, that's the reason that I can never look Zuppy in the face and say that you're a top 15 player. You lost to Edwin Budding while wearing the free 6 god tag. You should be embarrassed to pick up your fucking
Yeah,
rectangle.
he did that. He did do that.
Yeah, he did that.
Yeah,
that
he did
is-
that. Sorry, Zuppy, you gotta hold the L for that.
Yeah, that's points for Edwin. I don't know. I think we're all old now. I remember my last tournament. I think I entered in San Diego where I lost to an up and coming puff for the first time, and that was Khalid, who made top 8 now. And now I'm
So you're
sad.
doing
All right.
the opposite of Edwin. Edwin is win inflating. You're loss inflating, which is the last people I lost to were like Dawson.
I'd never lose to Dawson.
Right.
Okay.
I've seen
one?
the tweets. Actually, I'm 1-0 against the SoCal Dawson.
Yeah, that's right. Use that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's important. All right, now that we've lured everyone into just having a nice time, time to pop a quick intervention on Jackzilla.
Oh, Christ.
Oh boy.
We are surrounding you, and you have nowhere to go or hide. You recently hopped on Slippy on rank and connected to a player with less than stellar manners. I did some forensic accounting, and I saw several games of less than 30 seconds, which you won. You both refused to disconnect with each other for upwards of 55 hours. And after consulting Fizzy and finally smiting your enemy against the mountainside of pettiness, you are claiming the world record in the refusing to log off category. Pundits, are we all very concerned about him? Or should we enable his behavior? Was he cooking? Or, alternatively, should we be intervening on somebody else? Mikey.
No, I wish it were me, frankly. I'm so sad that nobody has really gone balls to the wall, sticking it out to not play Melee against me. And I'm still waiting to reel the big one in. I am coming for your record, Jack, but for now, I'm just very proud of you.
Wait, what about if you leave, you're a pussy? Didn't you get into a standoff with that guy?
My
or
internet
whatever?
went down, so it only lasted
Oh.
like 2 hours.
Oh,
So
that's a
you
skill
lost.
issue. That's a skill
You-
issue, Mikey.
You lost against if you leave, you're a pussy.
Mike, that's
I
Edwin,
did
are
lose.
you?
But
Are
I
you?
beat Fortnite after that. It happened
Okay.
again, and I won.
He's chasing you down, dude. But I'm glad you won the run back.
Yeah.
But you know, every great franchise is a trilogy, so who knows when you'll run into him next.
I'm looking for my white whale.
I think it's cool that Edwin called the cheat a pussy.
that
I
is
just
actually
That's
great.
pretty
I just named the tag of the guy.
That's huge.
It's
That's
certainly
huge.
better than Ambi's first offering on the show, and I quote, pass. So, yeah,
I
thank
did
you for
not say
doing that.
pass. What the fuck?
You basically did.
No, I didn't.
All right, well, Ambi, help me out here. Is Jack insane, or should we be intervening on someone else, or am I just smoking crack here?
I can't really speak to his behavior, but I do want to point out that there is an eco-unfriendly angle to take here, where I understand like the pettiness required to stay in the lobby for a long period of time. But I do want to point out that because of this debacle, because of this world record chase, 2 people had to leave their computers idling for 55 to 60 hours, which is just terrible for the environment. So I do have to question Jack's commitment to leftist causes if he's willing to do this and sacrifice his own personal morals in order to chase this dream of being recognized as, the most unlikely to leave a match.
Jack, do you have any response to this?
Yeah, I'm running a Plex server, so that computer is on anyways, and I'm serving a lot of people by preventing them from using Netflix and other streaming services in support of the current
I don't
strike.
know what a Plex
Mine's a
server
Chroma
is.
coin mine.
I'm stealing from the streaming services so that people don't have to support them during the strike, and so my computer simply has to be on 24/7.
Yeah.
Jack, my only question is, I don't understand how a man of your character and your values can do such a thing. You've watched Lord of the Rings. You saw that scene where Aragorn was trying to shit talk Sauron through Twitter, aka the Palantir.
You think that the moral of Lord of the Rings
This
was
is all
1v1,
bullshit.
1v1,
No,
1v1.
Palantir.
1v1.
This is crazy. No,
You should have smashed the Palantir. You left it in the
X is coming at me with reckless hate. And what do we do when men are faced with such reckless hate? We ride out and meet it, everybody. We ride out.
You left the Palantir on the ground.
Ambi, Mikey.
What are you talking
This is
about?
some nerd
This
shit.
is
I'm not getting
bullshit.
involved.
No, this is
Bullshit.
neoliberal consumer shaming. When what we should really be focused on is the effect big business is having on the environment.
This is
And
about
by
big
that, I mean
business.
HBox's Bitcoin mine that he funds all of Coinbox on. Can we fucking talk about it, please? Leave Jack alone.
Well, we got it. We
I
can't
will
leave
tell you,
Jack alone.
Chroma, I did go through with Yams, who I consider to be a great judge of character, a person I rely on when I need to see, am I the bad guy in the situation? And I sat down with Yams, and Danger was there too. And we looked at
Angel.
JL, that's the end of the
Advice
question.
from 17-year-old.
well, listen, I was
Listen,
listening to
little
Yams.
children,
Danger,
Jack.
Danger was there because I couldn't watch the games on my own computer because then I would need 2 Slippy instances. So Danger was my mule in a way.
No, this is
we
17-year-old
watched the
is your
games,
mule. All
and
right,
we
we are
decided-
muting Jack for
What was
a
that?
bit
God.
here. We're gonna go to our next question.
Wonder.
Speaking of big business here, this question comes to us from longtime fiend of the show, Ashcon. Along with sports washing, we're seeing the rise of esports washing. So, if MBS in the Kingdom of Saud holds $1 million Melee tournament, who goes? Who wins it? Who commentates? What excuses will they give for taking the bag? And also, what if they sponsor the Melee rankings? Ambisinister.
We don't have to worry about this. They're going to sponsor Ult, and Ult will take it, and it'll never get to our desk in the first place. So, personally, I definitely think that the Ult people would take it, and they would all go, and they would all chase the bag, and they would all, get really hissy if someone said, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't be taking money from the side." They'd be like, "No, dude, we need to chase the bag. It's okay." I don't think that this ever gets to the Melee players' desks. And I think if it did, we would have, a little bit more character, just, from the Panda experience that we all went through. I think that there's a little bit more likelihood that there's going to be some actual placing the foot down. But I don't think it even gets to us.
Friend of the show, Afghan, says yes when he's called on. You know what I'm saying? That's who's commentating this event, and it's gonna rock.
It's gonna rock, Jack.
Yeah, I don't know, Ambi. I wish I had your kind of enthusiasm, but not to be too mean or anything. But I've spoken with Radar about sponsorships. I've spoken.
That's the correct answer. The correct answer was Radar.
Yeah, if Radar's taking $1 million, maybe even $500,000 to commentate MBS's private Smash Invitational. I don't know, dude. I agree that I think Alt would immediately take the bag and run, but I've talked to too many people in Melee that have defended sponsorships or played devil's advocate for me to think that this is a foregone conclusion that's immediately shut down the moment it hits the desk.
Edwin, what is the smallest amount of money they would have to offer Radar, in your estimation?
How much did it depends? How much did the Canadian driving school give BOPC? I think it would take that much, whatever that amount is. I'm gonna guess that's like $1,000, $2,000.
Oh, they don't have real money there. It's all basically just moose teeth. Mikey, who's going?
Yeah, as the guy who got reprimanded for calling the Kalahari and Sandusky racist, I can tell you what I would like to happen, which is that we go with the Chromo 9 tactic of sending the person who's going to scare the host the most, and we send Ringler to Riyadh, baby. He's going to go there. He's going to get all that bread. He's going to find the passports of the undocumented workers who have built the stadiums that the tournaments are taking place in, and liberate all of them, and it's going to be great.
He has a gun. He has a gun. And he'll get it there.
Well, I think it just hit me, by the way, that one of the problems with Radar is that he'd get arrested for drug dealing overseas. So
Whoa. That's a heavy claim to make on this show. We don't like leaking or speculation or drink driving or any of that. No, you got to watch yourself.
Disrespect.
No,
He would not be arrested.
My apologies.
Classy
You're right.
and listen.
Yeah, Radar's not getting arrested.
You don't understand.
Free Radar until it's backwards.
Edmund,
Jack,
have you
do
ever
any
dealt
bad here?
drugs? Have you ever put someone in the vortex?
Jack has put me in the vortex. That's an obligatory point. I gotta say there. Anybody else? Really, we can't name a single top player that you think would definitely go.
I named
I think
HBox.
Gia would go. HBox
Wait,
would not
Edwin,
go.
why?
You'd want to grab the bag. He's all about content. The controversy would follow him. There'd be a storyline.
Go. He will say he'll go, and then he'll get blown up, and then he'll be like, "I'm making the right decision by not going."
This way.
And then,
Like with
and then
the
he would get
Harvey.
like 300,000 likes, and everyone would be like, "You're such a king, Xbox. You dropped this," and they're gonna post the crown emoji.
Yeah, this is,
think he
this
would
is a
fly there
layup for
first.
Xbox clout. Yeah, you don't even need to book the flight.
It's another chapter in the Milo Yiannopoulos photo saga.
Oh man, great times. My producers are telling me we got to go to our next question, which is actually very related to a point that Ambisinister made. As friend of the show Turned Down for Walt says, I am once again asking how Luminosity has so much goddamn money. So far, we've seen a series of high-profile signings, brand partnerships, and event sponsorships this year, seemingly all focusing on Ultimate. So what the hell is going on here? Is this the last bastion of late-cycle wild Smash sending? Are they going for the big one, a Nintendo condoned circuit? What should we do? And remember, leaks are worth a titanic amount of points on this show. Mikey, we go to you.
Yeah, if I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Mikey, I had such high hopes for you.
Can I be
It's
the mic
one of those-
whisperer?
it's one of
I don't
those
know
things.
anything, so I can't leak, but I can like translate.
Yeah, go attempt to.
All right, let's get some teamwork
Yeah.
here.
Mikey knows things, and he's saying I can't say it, which means that it exists. So I'm leaking for the first time. Definitely gonna be some kind of circuit coming up. Luminosity is that last squeeze of the lemon from the VCs, and they're gonna make every dime of it worth it. And that's why they're investing in the highest ROI community they can put a dollar bill into. And that's Super Smash Brothers Melee or Ultimate if they decide to make real money.
Well, it's one of those, maybe.
I think they're more interested in
Not us.
Ultimate.
They took War
We can
Hero
take you
out
along
to
for
the
the
back
ride.
of the
They
shed.
know to take us along for the ride. Oh
Yeah,
no!
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
I
no!
think
That
they're
was
gonna
not
do
a
it.
good.
I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to partner with Nintendo. I think they're going to retread all of the same ills. I think it's going to be the exact same. And weirdly enough, I don't think we have to do anything about it because we know how this ends, right? Like, we know that it'll explode violently, terribly. People will, sulfur will fall from the heavens, and everything will be awful. And then people afterwards that were affiliated with them will constantly tweet about how it could have been so much better if we all just listened to them a little bit harder. You know what I mean? Like they really just had the community's best interest in mind the whole time. And it's really unfortunate that it went so south, completely out of left field. Who could have predicted this?
And if they had just
but,
done one thing better, then it
or
all would
like
be
they
perfect.
didn't have that one guy that
The
ruined
one
everything.
thing.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? The
yeah,
one
yeah.
guy. We're I don't know, we've seen it all before. We'll see it all
Oh
again.
no!
Anoke.
Yeah, I mean, just from working in ranking discords with the Melee people and also the alt people, I think the alt people are very willing to put together something that puts on like a good enough face, right? I mean, these guys
We
are like
love
making
pitching. We love
algorithms.
pitching.
Yeah, these guys are like making algorithms, swapping names around, being like, oh, like, does this rank look good? How funny would it be if Tweak was in this spot or whatever, right? So I think they're willing to do anything for marketing and sales. This is the vibe that I get over there. But the nice thing, this is a nice thing. But I think if I will say if Luminosity's working with Nintendo or they're trying to work with them on a serious note, I think it would probably take them like quite a bit of time. Like I can't imagine that's something that would come up this year if it's like starting this year. Now,
You know what
have they been
happens, Steve?
working for a while? I mean, maybe, but while with Panda, I'm not really sure.
For the first time yesterday, my dad texted me about Melee. It was the
We
first
love
time
that.
that I
I love
think
dads.
he's ever like noticed something from the Melee world leaking into his world, and it was a podcast he listened to about how Nintendo put that Bowser guy in prison for IP theft and whatnot. Props to my king. But he's at the end they mentioned how Nintendo took down tournaments, and he called me and he was like, "Have they been shutting down your tournaments?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad. This shit's fucked. Why do you think I was so full and bright-eyed 5 years ago and I don't talk about it now?" I can't talk to you about something that can't become a job. So we made a breakthrough in our relationship, and I thank you for that.
That's
Nintendo.
huge, Jack. Mikey destroys progress.
Listen. It's we have to prepare for the storm. It's, we got to get the Twitter fingers ready. Is all I'm saying.
Fair points. Fair points. Now, once again, actually, we're segueing right into our next question here, which was that I did a little bit of research to back up our baseless slander against alt-rank. On a recent roundtable discussion, an alt-rank algorithm designer said that the hardest part is when 47 out of the 50 players are where you need them to be, but then the other 3 are off enough that you want to make adjustments to the algorithm, but then your changes to the algorithm would screw up the other 47. Folks, what was he cooking? Is the algorithm just 3 kids in a trench coat putting Mars at 33rd because it's funny? Can we fix them? Should we? Ambisinister.
Oh god. I am begging the ultimate community to have one guy data science course. Any data science course. One guy, please. I won't ask you to take a statistics course.
Oh.
I know it's too hard. I know you can't do it. I know none of you can. Please, you can pass data science 1. You can learn what validation data is for. Please. Every day I come closer to madness, and
I've solved it.
God, every day that this is not something that affects our scene, and we don't have people that are making lists under the guise of creating objective algorithms. Please,
I've done
out
it.
sets.
I've come up with the answer.
Mikey,
We
give it to us.
sacrificed ETOS at the altar of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We give him a higher purpose than making U.S. state-based maps, and we give them somebody who has some semblance of data science knowledge. It's a perfect marriage.
It's time to cut the slop. It's time to get to work, brother. I gotta tell you, Ambi, physician, heal thyself. The difference between Melee Stats and the alt kids isn't statistical literacy. When I first came into the Melee Stats Discord, my first question was, hey, Melee Stats people, which of you knows how to do a regression? Ambi, you can't talk. And I got silence and shit answers from everybody. So the difference between Melee Stats and the alt
That's what his job is. That's what his job is.
Jack, that was a cop question.
They're
That was a
trusting
question
the
for
statistical
police.
brains. And that's okay. So what we need to get from the alt kids isn't for them to take a stats class. It's for them to trust somebody who has been in the stats class. And that's a much easier challenge.
We don't need them all to take it.
I don't think that's going to help
One
because you're the
guy.
one guy. We already did it.
I think you're all
the
wrong.
whole community needs one guy.
Anoke, bring us back to the promised land. What are they all doing wrong?
Honestly, it seems like they're thriving. They're getting money from Luminosity for God knows whatever reason. As little effort or as little attention to detail as possible. Isn't this the dream? This is what they can talk to their parents about this. We were just talking to our dads and moms and parents getting their approval. You think they give a shit about any of this stuff? They care about securing the bag, and it seems like Alt is doing that with very little stress and effort. So I, for one, applaud them.
But it was
I have to keep my points in double digits so that it's legible. I just, as a former producer of the show, it's hard to do better.
Jack, what are your takes on an objective algorithm that can rank people?
An objective algorithm. I hear
redeem
that.
yourself here.
Yeah, I did battle with Mango in the comments. I was in Mango's stream for like 15 minutes, and he was just like talking to me about rankings, and I'm like posting the prompt that the people get. I'm trying to walk him through. And Mango, I've always been impressed with his ability to kind of bumble to the right answer after just working hard enough at it. It's very similar to like watching him learn a matchup in Melee that he's been losing. And he got to the end. He was like, so what you're saying is people just kind of vote on whatever, and we put it all together and it kind of works. And I was like, yeah, that's about as good as a layman's understanding as you want. And he's like, why can't we just get one smart guy who's not in Melee to do the whole thing? And I was like, he won't know what's going on. I was then promptly, what is it called in Melee's chat when somebody spends 10,000, or in Mango's chat when somebody spends.
You got fudged. Yeah.
So I got fudged after I was answering a question, and so there was this 10-minute gap where Mango kind of came to all the conclusions himself, and he doesn't need me. He's got it. It's all for content.
I tuned into that stream he had of going over the rankings, and I will say it is kind of funny seeing him in a longer form, in like a longer format, like kind of walk down the differences between head-to-heads and placements, and then where head-to-heads happen in bracket, and the value of tournament victories. It was kind of a fascinating insight into him, and I gotta give him this. I think it was more coherent than a lot of streams that I've seen of dear friend of Fourside Fights, Cody Schwab, when it comes to rankings, and that's why Mango's my goat.
He basically logicked every possible thing to complain about, and then like found himself in the system that we have now after like trying to complain his way through it. And then immediately after he went through all this process of like talking to us, and Chroma was in the chat a little bit, he loads up a bunch of math quizzes and crosswords. His brain had expanded from just thinking about how the Melee Stats team puts together this panel ranking system. And he wanted a bite of that sweet, sweet intellectual nectar.
How did he do on the quizzes and the crosswords?
Well, you know, what's important is showing people that trying is valuable, and that it's okay to be a buster as long as you load up the quiz in the first place, because one day one of those Melee chatters is gonna figure out how to make a superconductor at room temperature.
All of this is actually the same way that we solve incoming, for what it's worth. So
we are really cooking as a community, and I'm glad that we all learned together. And what's most important, I have never seen an Ultimate Kid get AP credit. Never gonna see it.
I made him do math at Summit. Remember how that went?
I saw that. It was abysmal. I mean, you got AMSA multiplying, billion to, huge numbers together, and then also benching 185.
Yeah.
These kids are tragedies.
That's not winning as a community.
AMSA getting the numbers on TikTok too.
Yeah, I mean, that was surprising. That's actually kind of a big crossover. So, on some more positive notes on crossovers, in a post with an unfortunately omitted hyphen, Jmook announced that he's re-signing with FlyQuest, not resigning, and moving to Los Angeles, California. This has stunning implications. My mind's eye, of course, sees hundreds of potential futures unfolding from this because I am a genius. But I want you to walk me through what your feeble minds have to say about this. What happens next? Edwin Budding.
Okay, so I did hear from Kadoran at Gommel that Jmook apparently does not meditate all the time. He only does it at tournaments.
What's he doing the rest of the time?
Well, the way Kadoran put it, he said, you know how Jmook meditates at every tournament? He actually doesn't do that every day. He just sits in his room and jerks off all day. This is what Kadoran said. And this is what Kadoran's my goat.
Come on. I wish Kadoran was on the show so that we could take points from him for saying that. What a load of crock. His mom watches this show, Edwin.
It's a load of something.
I have to apologize to his mother for the show. Jmook is a very productive, wonderful young man.
This is Jmook mama erasure.
Oh, what if he were just Jack?
Is there anything wrong with Jack?
Jack, what's the issue here? And how will SoCal influence this? We're going to get back to that question. Now I've been sidetracked. Jack?
Yeah. I'll save the SoCal part. I think it rocks. It's super cool. I want to make sure that my teammate Cheat gets a slice of this, so I'll keep it to the selfish angle, which is, listen, I often have to work East Coast hours and work like 6 a.m. to 1, and that means at 1:30 unranked, guess who's on? It's AMSA, it's Jmook, it's the top players who are trying to stream their secondaries. So I'm really excited to encounter Jmook as he has 5 other people to play at 1:30 on net play.
Okay, be good for Slippy. What happens? Mikey?
Yeah, I think, rest in peace Binghampton Melee for one. That's a huge loss. But I think he starts going to Verdugo. Iron's been ironed a little bit. We get Kadoran showing up. Fiction and Kadoran and Jmook just kind of align their crystals and all just ascend to make SoCal the power region that we know it really should be. And they beat Tri-State in every crew battle for the rest of the time, and that's great in my book.
How long do you think Jmook has to be there to be SoCal resident for crew battles? How many Verdugos?
I don't know.
If we're measuring this in Verdugos, I got bad news.
Oh no.
Ambi, fill us in.
Yeah, I think Jmook will have a great time in LA. I think if he is really just sitting in his room jerking off all day, then he'll have a great time with legal weed. I will think that he'll go to one Verdugo and he'll be like, this is so sick. And then he'll never go again because you have to sit on stools and it's like outside. And everyone's like, dude, the vibe is so great. Everyone's great. Friction's just high the entire time. It's awesome. And then he won't go back. So I mean, so it stands to see like how much Jmook's presence will actually affect the SoCal scene, like as it refers to people that attend locals. But I think he'll really like it. Like it does seem like the type of place that Jmook would thrive really well in. So I'm excited for him to move.
Yeah,
You know, maybe Jmook won't play at every Verdugo, but he will bring the acoustic guitar out to every Verdugo and provide.
Yeah, I can see it.
It'll be like
Yeah, I
that
think-
scene Barbie, but 1,000 different Jmooks at 1,000 different Vertigos.
I wanna push.
I think you could show up at a Lawless. You can show up at a Lawless for like a big monthly like
I think
weekend
he's
event.
gonna be
every
a
now and then.
locals goer. I think you guys don't understand what it feels like to be in a scene where you can't like get easy access to your local, as long as it's not like egregiously, car held.
Does Jmook drive?
Listen, I don't know where Verdugo is. Is it out of the way of like any place that is
Everywhere is out of the way. It's Los
Upstate New
Angeles.
York.
It's
no,
drive,
there's places in
right?
LA that are very
It's bad.
They're not-
cyclical, you know very well. Now, I
Not
do
where the
think that
locals
the
are.
other what I'm hoping is a huge benefit is now we can just directly contact FlyQuest instead of trying to contact Jmook to get him on this show. He's
That's
expressed
true. That's
interest,
a good
but I
point.
think we need to kind of go to his manager to make it to close the deal, so to speak.
Anybody have any inclination as to how Jmook and Mango will vibe together? Mango kind of has this interesting interaction with top players where he seems to put them under genjutsu and destroy their soul and confidence. What happens?
I think Jmook can stand up to it. I think Jmook loves loving people and he loves being loved on, but he's kept himself through it all. He sits on your lap and he gets right back up and whoops you. So I think Jmook can stand the test of Mango, because Jmook already rose to kind of prominence as a fan first. And this is the only top player that I've seen like who knew the cheat before the cheat knew him. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time that Melee has been this long that I've been in it to see this happen, and I think Jmook is ready to kind of separate those two things. He's already climbed that mountain. Mango's got nothing.
But wouldn't that make him more vulnerable to the Mangus's aura?
I think so. I think if I could jump in, I think that what you're describing, Jack, is also like almost word for word describable for Axe, right? I think Axe definitely like the original SSB seal of YouTube commentators.
Yeah.
Definitely like super turbo lurker. Definitely super, friendly to everyone. And there is almost no one, like at least as far as like net play streams go, that has been put more in the vortex by Mango than Axe. So I think it's certainly up in the air for me at the very minimum.
Man, Axe's record against Mango was stellar. Like, for the character
Yeah,
that
but not on net play, not on their
not
Mango
on
Axe
netplay.
season
Oh,
or
are we
whatever.
specifically just talking about Mango
We
versus
care.
Jmook netplay?
I'm talking
I think
about
Mango's
overall.
gonna
I
have
don't
him over to
think
his
they're good.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really know.
Vortex.
Yeah, I don't really know if the fandom thing is unique to Jmook. And Axe is a pretty good example of someone who's kind of been in that role for a while. But even back in 2019, I remember Cody Schwab went up to me and Wheat and just like geeked out about rankings. I feel like we're just kind of where we are at a community that it's like pretty tight knit. It's a little different than it was like late last decade. We're just kind of in a spot where everybody kind of, if you're really involved in the scene, you kind of know who does what, and you sort of like you associate people a lot like closer to you as possible. Ambi actually had a really good like analogy once where he was basically like, like if you're super invested in a hobby like rock climbing or something, like you're naturally going to, if you spend a lot of time like rock climbing, you're going to spend time with other people who spend as much time, right?
Rock climbing.
I don't know. I got bored halfway through you saying that, so I'm going to go to the next question. Sorry, Edwin. You were so close to cooking. Let's go to this. You're all known far and wide for your concrete contributions to the scene as TOs, content creators, statisticians, cult leaders. But in my opinion, you're all underrated posters. You've been in the trenches over the last decades plus. You've seen a lot of things that most people haven't seen. So let's take a moment to commemorate the brilliance of this scene of ours. What is the funniest thing you have ever seen, read, experienced, or heard about from the Melee scene? And I'm going to give everyone some time to think, and whoever wants to jump in first will get some bonus points.
Yeah, I got my answer right off the bat. It's a very scarcely known Bob Money tweet where he says there's a new wave of fashionable young men in the community with no patience for shitbaggery or cum jesters. And that is my favorite Melee tweet by far.
What puts it together for you?
I feel like it's the first time anyone's. What was that?
Sorry, it's
was
gotta
not
be
your
cum
turn,
gesture
Jack.
for me.
Was not your turn at all. Mikey, please go ahead.
It's so vivid in its description, right? Like nobody has ever heard cum gesture before or really understood the definition of it, but we all know what it means in a Bob Money tweet, and I think that's kind of why it's brilliant.
Not a lot of good team combos. I understand. Okay.
Can you name a cum gesture?
Ringler. Our favorite cum jester heading to Saudi Arabia this summer.
Yep.
I think that's not right, but it's definitely very good.
What do you mean?
If Ringler isn't a cum jester, then there aren't any cum jesters left.
There may be none left.
I think in a way I'm a cum jester. I'll cop to it.
Yeah. That's worth thinking about. All right, who wants to jump in? Jack, you were so excited to team combo.
I don't know. He can go. I was supporting my teammate. I wasn't trying to interrupt.
That's not what we're here for on this show. Ambisinister.
Yeah, okay, so this was mentioned a little bit earlier, but I do want to mention the truly funny angle to it. So Edwin Budding versus Zuppy, Shine 2018. Zuppy wearing the 6 God tag to really get at Edwin, to get under his skin, and then, proceeding to get down tilted like 15 times and like apparently the worst set of all time. That is not by itself the funny part of the story, as funny as it is. The funny part is Edwin Budding going 2-2 at this tournament. Defeating Zuppy and then losing to Drunk Sloth and Professor Payne, which is such a phenomenal 2-2 result. It may be my favorite 2-2 result ever. And just magical run to go through Zuppy and on your way to 193rd at Shine 2018. So to me, there's nothing that can replace that. That's too funny.
I respect that. I respect that mocking the teammate. Edwin, do you have anything in your defense?
Oh no, that's pretty accurate. After I lost to Professor Peen, I asked Eric how I beat doing nothing, and I still haven't figured it out. So it's pretty on the money.
Very good. What is the funniest thing you've ever seen in the scene?
Me or Edwin?
Are you talking to me or Jack?
I'm talking to you, Edwin.
Okay. This is an experience I had. So this is around the time when we started the Melee Stats server, like the podcast server for the first time. So we had a bunch of new fans that had been watching our content through Save as Untitled, like all our other stuff and everything. And a patron at the time who, God, do I want to name this patron? A patron at the time during a late night VC. No, I can't leak this person. You'll understand? Chroma, I think you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. But he goes into our VC and starts, talking to us about life, talking to us about HBox and how he leaked a very vulnerable photo of HBox, like just like a HBox DM or whatever.
Vulnerable?
And basically what happened is that like HBox forced him to apologize, and then after he apologized in the DMs, HBox was like, grow up and learn how to take accountability. And after that day, this person joined HBox's, like he subscribed to HBox. He started like posting in his Discord and his chat all the time, like practicing with him all the time. And they met in person and patched things up where he apologized to HBox for putting HBox in a bad position of having his DMs to other people in the community leaked.
That man's name, Chroma09.
GG's, that was me.
Yeah, so
That was me.
the only thing I'll say about him is that he is a weirdly notable Marth player from his region, and he may have had a role in that stretch of time where HBox was beating
Does this
Zain
Marth player tend to accuse others of jerking off?
No.
Okay, just checking. Because this.
No, I know who this is. I know who this is. It's not Juan Cadorid.
Yeah, I cannot leak the name of this person. I can't do it.
That's fair. Oh, fun times. Well, we're coming up to about the end of the episode. The next question
You want
is
me to tell my funny
Into
story?
Jags.
I don't, but you know what? That's fair. I now remember that I didn't let you
God.
go ahead, Jack.
If you make up your mind if you don't want me to tell it, I don't have to tell it. It's
No, you should tell it.
immortalized.
No, you should tell it. It's actually going to be great for the next question if you tell it now.
Yeah, so to me, the beauty of TOing full bloom, at first we were doing it for the community, but then selfishly I decided that the funnier thing would be to do it to immortalize this story and to hire BTS to make a documentary about it. So the funniest thing that ever happened in my time in the scene was PPTO. So there's an hour-long drive between Indianapolis and Bloomington, and we have to, for Full Bloom 2, this was all about bringing in like targeted, nice top players who we could use to grow a network to get Full Bloom 3 to pop off. So we invited Lucky to get the mango angle. We got Homemade Waffles, great commentary. NorCal, we got Axe, nicest, easiest to work with guy. And one of the TOs had to pick them up from the airport, and the traffic was crazy on the way there. And he was in such a rush because this was like the first time for any of us that we'd met any top player in person in this way. Like it's hard to understate how much of an island Bloomington, Indiana could be for us. And so he's super excited. He gets them in the car. He's driving back, and he starts to tell them, he's like, I can't. I need to go to the bathroom. I really need to go. And they're like, man, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. But the traffic gets crazier and crazier. And the way that this TO told us the story later is he was like, I was so sure that the traffic was going to ease up and it was going to make it. And I was going to make it. And then the second that I realized, oh no, I'm not going to make it, the seat drenched. And Homemade Waffles and Axe are just like open mouth. They're like, holy shit, this is crazy. He is apologizing profusely. He's trying to clean it up. He pulls the car over. Homemade Waffles is like, yo, if Phil and Mango were in the car right now, there would be a tweet. This would be over forever. And the way that he like tried to tell us, the TOs, when he got back is by not telling us at all. And so it took about 2 days for us to coax the story out of him. And I sat in the seat that he was sitting in briefly, and I was like, hey man, why you got all these towels on? Why is this seat kind of wet? And it took him a while to come clean on his lack of cleanliness, I guess. But if you want to watch the full story, it's Full Bloom The Long Road on YouTube, and we call it internally PPTO.
That is horrifying. I will give you a lot of points for that, because that is the worst story I've ever heard in my life.
I was so scared forever that it was going to be the end. When he told me the story, I was literally like, this is the end of Full Bloom.
Yeah, that's
Nobody will ever
over.
come back because the first person to interact with the top player literally pissed himself.
Yeah. That's not that's a bad start. That's a bad start. Well, we are coming just about to the end of our time. This is our last topic before the tiebreaker, and I am stalling for time as I think about what the tiebreaker should be. Smashers are certainly getting more preemptive with their reactions these days. Swift criticized the rankings for punishing relative inactivity for working players before the ballots were even in. Keyboard players are already swearing a holy war against the controller standardization rules before they even know the proposed nerfs. Contestants, before the end of this show, would you like to explain why you lost this episode and why it was bullshit? Mikey, you are our points anti-leader at the moment.
Yeah, you've kind of had it out for me the entire history of this show. I've seen it after every episode. I've seen the lifting that you've been doing to try to sort of challenge me physically as well when the time comes. And so, that I'm not going to lie, it's scaring me a little bit. And I feel like it's going to result in me, not doing well when all is said and done here, even though I do have, aside from this show, the most points in the history of Fourside Fights.
All right.
No, very astute. I'm glad that you picked up on that.
I was right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I've been doing. It's been basically one big revenge arc. Edwin, you are now in last. Would you like to explain why you may lose this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I just know it was a predetermined outcome from the start. I showed up anyway to try to push back against the woke mob, but the woke smash, radical smash community doesn't want to hear the truth. And I'm here to try to deliver some of that, but I understand the woke agenda you have. And I understand that, by coming on the show, it's more like for me to stand for something, even if I know it may not succeed. So that's it.
I appreciate you staying in character and refusing to look at the camera as you said the words "the woke mob," and just staring straight at your feet as you did that. Ambisinister.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take a page out of Swift's book. So Swift, as you mentioned, made that tweet complaining about the activity requirements not being super clear, right? Which is pretty fair feedback, I think. And I made a tweet that referenced this tweet, and I said, it's kind of funny that we've been flamed for so long for overvaluing players that don't attend, and now there's all this discourse before the rankings even come out about people that don't attend getting underranked, right? And Swift actually, he quote retweeted me very angrily, saying that, oh, the Rankies team, you guys just say that everyone's flaming you. And then he deleted the tweet mysteriously, very shortly thereafter. And I DM'd him afterwards. I'm like, hey, like we could totally talk this out. Like I think that there may have been some sort of miscommunication here. And Swift actually got back to me and he said, dude, I totally misread your tweet. I thought that you were saying that I was flaming you and not that you've been flamed in the past. I'm so sorry. It was great talking to you on the Melee Stats podcast. Really sorry about all this miscommunication. So I'm going to get ahead of this and say that I understand the point value system, and I think it's tough but fair. And it would be unbecoming of me to blame Chroma preemptively just for saying that I did not win the episode. So I see my points decreasing, and you know what? I totally get it. Tough but fair, but understandable.
The key here is that I am in control, Ambi, and you were starting to question that for a bit, and that's where you lost a bit of the thread there. Jackzilla, to you.
Yeah. So the question, just to be clear, is why did I lose this episode?
Well, I just don't see why I need to repeat this again, but yes, that is true.
Okay. Yeah, I think all the other answers didn't really. I was listening to see, did somebody really have a case for why they lost harder than I feel I lost? And I didn't hear it. And the reason is that I came into this episode, this is the first one that I have not hosted. And so my win con was maybe this will be the time when it's proven that only Jackzilla can host the show. And only Jackzilla can do the good job of this. And I don't think that's what happened. I think I think that I learned that, oh shit. Probably there are many people that could do this. And Chroma, certainly one of the best. It's something that I've been afraid of ever since he started angling for seizing power. So I am very scared, and I lost this episode because Chroma can host the show just as good and maybe even better than I can.
Jack, quick question. Do you think that one of those people is Edwin Budding?
No. Edwin could not do what I do. Ambi could, Chroma could, Edwin could. Edwin could if I had a little like bug in his ear and I was giving him like little tips and tricks. He could respond to coaching.
He cannot. Edwin, can you defend yourself?
This is BS, dude. I literally had the Edwin Budding stock exchange and speed round for so long.
You stole that from me. You stole that from me. That's my shit.
You can come up with
I came up with the this or that on the Melee Stats podcast. You
This podcast is 2 hours
I didn't
long.
steal that shit from you, dude. You had a few questions.
Dude.
Why
I
is your
perfected
runtime
it,
so
dude.
long?
The Melee Stats podcast.
I refined it, dude.
Look it up on YouTube.
It's like saying that you came up with the concept of a video, dude.
I just can't believe we're not all bowing before the altar of Tony Reali. Right?
That's
really
what
the
I'm saying.
godfather
There
of
is
all this
one
shit.
who stands above.
Yeah, we're trying. Remember when they just ripped off our intro just straight up? They said,
That's
what are
right,
you going to
That's
do?
right.
Great song and
Actually, Tony
everything.
Reality is ripping off of us. He comes to us for that little bug in his ear.
It's because
Like,
we
what
pay
are you
our
gonna do?
respects.
We pay our respects.
Wait, hold on. Jake, you said you could win this episode. If there's a reason none of us win, it's because
Oh, hold on. I lost you there for a second. What was that? You were cooking. I want to
No,
give you an opportunity.
gonna
you
win.
said you could have won the episode. So it's
Explain.
because you are in control of everything. You're like our dad right now. We are but your kids looking up to you for your approval.
My dad.
Got a little weird
kinda
there, but I
weird
do
one, but-
respect it.
I do think that you could tank
Bad thing
everyone
to
to
him.
100, under 100 points.
I
and
still
then
feel like
immediately
that's
win
what's going to
the
happen.
Yeah, I got
we're-
a feeling
yeah.
about it.
Cruma's watching Oppenheimer
He's
for
rubbing
those
his hands,
sweet tips.
He has become death.
I am learning a lot. Okay, so we're going into the tiebreaker, but before we begin the question,
wasn't the tiebreaker.
something came
Wasn't
up
that
in
the
the pre-show.
tiebreaker?
No, that was the last topic. This is now the tiebreaker. Anybody has a chance to win. Currently, the score is 478 for Fourside Fight, and it's 463 for Melee Stats. Those numbers are very big. A lot can happen right now. And one thing that came up during the pre-show was who wins the episode. Mikey asked if Mikey and Jack win, does it count as a win for both of them, or is it just for one of them? Well, here it is. I'm going to give you an option here. You can either preserve your total as a team, or you can elect to steal the entire total and gamble it on the tiebreaker. And if you get the tiebreaker right, you will keep the points and a sole win. If you gamble wrong, you lose it all. And if you don't gamble, you get to work on the tiebreaker question as a team. I will give you now 30 seconds to think about whether you want to steal the points from your teammate and go for it yourself. Whoever announces they want to steal first on each team, by the way, will get to steal.
I feel like matching shirts is pulling me towards being a little bit more friendly towards Jack in this situation right now. It's making me feel like there's some sort of team identity here.
Gather around, children. It's high time you learned of a hero named The Cheat and a devil named Chrome.
Yeah, I gotta say, if I deleted Edwin from Melee Stats, I would have had to edit all the blurbs, and holy moly, do I not want to do that. So I'm sticking with the team. Personally, I think that the team dynamic is important.
Well, now I'm thinking that we should do it.
The funniest thing right now.
I will never throw Ambi under the bus. I'm an honorable player.
Okay, last call for anybody.
Chroma, this is one of those situations where all of us know it's funnier to steal, but the love is just too strong.
I had to try. One time. So this brings us to our tiebreaker question. Why does my cat hit me when I play net play when I am so nice to her?
Because she is baby.
That's a good answer.
Babies are fucking nuts.
They do.
I hate to tell you this, man. I hate to tell you, your cat knows that you're not looking at the screen. You might as well be looking at her. Like if you were really in there, if you were reacting, if you were picking up all of the available points that your opponents give you, if you were making Drunk Fox proud, there'd be no hitting. But you're not even looking at the screen. Please, might as well look at the cat.
Edwin Budding.
This never happens to me with my pet, but if I were to guess, I think you're just not giving her enough attention earlier in the day. Maybe if you do a little bit more of that, she'll bother you less when it's alone time.
Edwin, the question was because I am so nice to her. I love her.
Maybe you got to maybe you have to distribute it more throughout the day, and you have it condensed too much in a short period of time.
I should have stolen. He's giving Ernest pet advice.
All right, Jack, it's up to you. And if you show cowardice, I will knock you down to 0 right now.
Yeah, I think I've this week has been very tough for me in terms of cats because I've only known one cat that I have ever cared about, and that's Puzzle. That's my girlfriend Lily's cat, who I've known for the past 5 years. And this week was very scary, a lot of health scares, and so I think the way that I'm reflecting back on my time with this cat in her 17-year life, which this is the terror and the beauty and the wonder of having a pet and a little friend, is they really love you and they want to be with you, and it's not going to last forever. So sometimes you got to look away from the screen and give her some pets, and there's never enough.
Jack did have the correct answer. It is because she loves me. Mm-hmm. It's because she loves me. And with that, I do have to say the winners of our show are inexplicably, and I really tried to make this not happen, the Fourside Fights champion fighters. This does mean that they take legal control over not only the rankings, but Edwin Budding's dog, Arnold.
No!
Join us for the fight.
No!
You guys can have it. You guys can have the rankings too.
Yeah,
we're ranked 2.0. We throw it together in 5 days.
Yeah, right. You guys have my ownership shares also.
Stick around. We're gonna play some. Melee. Well, welcome back, everybody. We are here with one of our winners, Jackzilla. I have to say, I really thought that I was going to do a better job of stopping you from winning. Congratulations. What do you have to say about that?
I'm glad that I clutched it. I realized what the pattern was. I always tell new players on the show that the way to win is to pay attention to why you're winning and losing points in the first half, and then do better in the second half. And you really liked it when we said good things, and you didn't like it when we talked about you. So I followed that pattern.
That's actually pretty good. I gotta say, I beefed the tiebreaker. I gotta say, I forgot about Puzzle.
No. I was so happy that I was gonna win and turn something sad into a W.
It was fun. It was a fun time
Where am
to
I?
be on.
What color am I? Okay, I'm.
Yeah. I gotta say, I have a new appreciation for your hosting, Jack. Like moving it along. I had 4 things written out to start, but then I scrolled past those. So I skipped them entirely, which Jack noticed and laughed, I think, as I was doing it. But I needed the
I was
time,
like, he doesn't
actually.
got it. He doesn't
He
know.
just doesn't have it. No, my notes were, I realized I had a note for Wheat and not Mikey. So I immediately panicked and just gave up on it. But mine was Edwin Budding has been showing me his progress through Kingdom Hearts 1, and I gotta say, he's not making it past Atlantis. Edwin, how are you doing with Ursula right now?
I haven't played since beating Cerberus, or like I think I'm in like Traverse Town right now, but I'm doing some of the stuff before Opposite Armor, which is pretty interesting.
So
But
why
I-
are you having such a hard time with the Trick Master, but Cerberus is like free for you?
Yeah, dude, I have no idea how Cerberus was so like. I remember Cerberus being really difficult, but I think I just like. I did the thing where it was like I just lined up what's it called, like on items, but I set like Goofy and Donald to just use it only in emergencies. So after stocking them up on items, I was basically able to like not worry about dying, because they would heal themselves and then heal me or whatever. Like
They are
it wasn't.
idiots.
Yeah, they were very dumb, but having them for items is good. Because it makes sure I don't have to use them, right? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. It's like I'm never going to use the item at the end of the day. Most of the time, so I might just give the CPUs a huge amount of items.
Also,
Who really
getting cure makes it way easier.
Cure, yeah, the game gets so easy as soon as you learn Cure, because that means Donald learns Cure, and then
Yeah.
you're just randomly getting free cures when they're not dead. So this
Yeah,
is
it's
part of
always-
the this is
it's
the part of the
always
show
fun-
called
yes,
Touching Grass now.
Hey, you guys remember when Goofy fucking dies?
That part rules.
Yeah, dude, that part's okay. I'll let you guys know something hilarious. My spouse hates Kingdom Hearts.
That
My
is correct.
spouse literally like is revulsed by the concept of Kingdom Hearts, especially
You're
because my
You're
you
all
just
spouse
can't.
people.
Yeah,
I'm realizing. Like, how do you explain that game to somebody?
Honestly, Kim had a pretty good understanding of it. That I asked him, I was like, okay, explain to me like what the vibe is. Like, what do you understand of this game? And Kim basically got it immediately. Kim was like, like a bunch of worlds from different IP are like consumed by darkness, so everyone has to come together to like save their like own worlds in the universe. And I was like, that's actually pretty close.
Oh yeah, so this is
bad.
tell Jack about your idea that the game is about intellectual property.
Yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts is actually about like the darkness of like derivative work, and the fact that like the only people who are allowed to use the works for other people have to be these like massive companies or whatever. I think Kingdom Hearts is actually like a weird.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
I
a
think
weird-
much like Barbie, it's very hard to critique the thing you are.
Oh, I
We've
think
done
capitalism can be critiqued inside capitalism, et cetera, et cetera. So our winners are amazingly it's Mikey and Jack, probably by nature of their teammate is
I feel
not
like
on the East
right,
Coast.
It wasn't close.
Ambi, what happened here?
I don't know. What do you want me to say to that?
Just hold on back
I'm
here.
having fun.
It was a good time. Does anybody regret their decision not to steal?
Oh, this feels good. Although Jack was the only person that killed me in that game.
That's
so
not good.
maybe carrying it over into the Fourside fight.
Yeah,
That, that may have happened.
I don't really regret not stealing. I think I would have if your tiebreak question wasn't horrific.
Yeah, that's on
come
me.
on.
Because I was like, okay, there's nothing I can do. Like, it's not
Yeah,
like my answer would have.
How does it feel to do a tiebreaker
Tiebreaker question is like the worst possible thing to ask me. That's
No,
like,
it was-
like in a list of all the
It's
different
insane.
topics
You
I could
have a
possibly-
dog. A dog
Yeah,
and
but
a
like-
cat are similar animals.
Not for me. Like Arnold's really like
tiebreaker question
he's
that's
very,
deep from your heart.
Where's Puzzle? Is Puzzle there?
Oh
Oh, Puzzle not in there.
no, she's not been moving a lot.
Oh. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. This has been
Goodbye,
Fourside
Jeff.
Fights. They're not going to let me host it again, but I will not relinquish control. The vision is getting larger, and the circle is getting smaller. Tune in next time at some point. Who really knows? For Ambi, Edwin, The Cheat, and Jackzilla, I've been Chroma09. Have a good night, everybody.
You're only real if you don't fuck with me.
Ted Cruz just killed my son.